about the term Jnana in Sanskrit, what in English is translated as knowledge generally. But in Sanskrit, the term Jnana is not just one layer, it's many layers. Jnana in Sanskrit means knowledge which can be outer information. It is also met in its root verb root, as to experience something or feel something. It also means truth of observation. It also means analysis and judgment. And it finally means realization. As everything in the understanding of Kaulakrama or Tantra refers to the structure of fivefold division according to the five elements. Similarly, the matter of knowledge or realization or wisdom is also fivefold. Knowledge from the view of objective attainment, read from books, collected from others, is information. In Sanskrit, it is called tathya or information. It's not yours. You use it, it's somebody else's outside you. But your knowledge starts when anything from outer or inside you, you experience. So Gyan, the root verb of Sanskrit, starts with Sangha or Samvedan, then Sangha. Samvedan means feeling. How an information you react with, how that information became a part of you in your feelings or experience. Like you see something, that is your visual experience, that is your visual knowledge. You hear something, that is your auditory experience and feeling, and it is your knowledge of audition. Anything you smell, the experience of smell is your knowledge about smell. Anything you touch is your experience of feeling of touch. Anything you taste is experience in your feelings of taste. This knowledge is primarily with you. You deal the outer knowledge or information with comparing with your experience. If you cannot compare an outer information with, you cannot feel it or you cannot compare it with your experience, then you have no clear knowledge about a thing. Like suppose you hear about Hanging Garden of Babylon. You have experienced what is garden. You have experienced what is hanging. But you may not have seen the Hanging Garden of Babylon. So in your feelings, you are imagining that a garden which is hanging. Even it is not the full knowledge, but it is an apprehension of assimilating the information with your experiential standard of knowledge. But when you see it, experience directly, then you will have much better and much true a knowledge through experience. Otherwise, you are imagining it, taking from the components of your experiences. But suppose you hear something that you have no idea, there is no senses working with it. Then how it can be your knowledge? Similarly, the sages in India, they said that one who does not have eyes, what is the need of the mirror for that person? One who is blind, what a blind will do with a mirror. Similarly, one whose own experiential knowledge is not there, what such a one will do with important texts and books. But when I say this, most of you will say, knowledge means books. Knowledge does not mean books. Knowledge means your mind, how your mind accepts an information. And this information, your mind can accept only when it passes through your experiential standard of the knowledge, your record of your feelings, your memory. So the objective ground or the physical ground of knowledge is information. Suppose somebody showed you a bottle and said, this is a bottle. You never knew this is called a bottle because you belong to some other language that doesn't call it bottle, may call it something else. But from today, that you are assured this is called bottle, it is in your knowledge that this form is named as bottle in some language. So the form is your experience, and the name added to it is the information. If there was not the form present, then just by saying bottle, if you don't know the language, it doesn't mean anything to you. Similarly, going through difficult philosophies which are abstract, which are somebody's experience, it may make you wonder, but it cannot become your knowledge until and unless you recognize it through your own experiences. So the life of knowledge is experience. The body of knowledge is information. everybody of us has come to this world without information. And we collected information in connection to our experiences of the senses. You saw a form and knew its name, and others told you about it. And all of this is your knowledge. But if you have not seen the form, you cannot apprehend the form. You have not seen it, tasted it, or smelt it, or heard it, or touched it. You have no knowledge about it. It's just an information to you. So most of the idealistic philosophy of the world gets refuted in this way of scientific understanding of knowledge is not only perception, it's sensation on which the perception is developed. In modern psychology, the science doesn't recognize anything as perception or a definition of a perception without having no knowledge of its experience. If anybody has to contradict it, please do. To understand, to debate, no problem. Please do. Because don't accept everything be granted. Our knowledge develops with our challenges, basic informations. So do you agree that any information without its experience is a knowledge?
Hi, Baba.
Yeah, you didn't say.
Hello, nice to have you back. I missed you. Yes, you're amazing. Thank you for touching our lives.
I call myself queer. You call me amazing. Similar words.
Yes. So yes, I would say a common example of this, let's say you are a registered nurse. You have the theory, you have the anatomy. If you go to the hospital and you're left alone, you can't treat the patient there. So experience, you need the experience. So I agree with you. That's my humble thought on that.
So all the bookish knowledge that is not passing through your experience, or is it not checked by your experience? Do we call it knowledge? I'm questioning a very basic thing of knowledge, because here in this satsang, we are sharing knowledge. Now, whatever I'm saying is my experienced truth. But when it is reaching to you, it is an information from outside you. How do you synthesize it inside you, assimilate it inside you, is through comparing it or passing through your data of experience. What do you say about it, Uwe? Uwe is a big head. That is why when we discuss all this, I always remember Uwe.
Actually, we just came in, or I just came in like 5 minutes ago, or 4 minutes ago. But I heard your question, and it is totally clear that we call this in the West, we call this knowledge. Yeah, in general, even when it is not checked by one's experience. because also the general knowledge of this, that something should be checked by the experience, or that only experience in a way should be expressed by people, that kind of thing one does not hear often about in the West. It's not much of a concept in
It's
general, I would
it's
say.
exactly the Sanskrit lines say, what what does a blind do with a mirror? What does an ignorant mind do with a book?
Mm.
Today, if we talk about theology, though it started with Christianity, or the theories and its analysis and its historicity of the Bible, but today, for a scholar, the word theology means the structure of theory and its knowledge about any philosophy. If you see the world religions, the biggest archival and the biggest and the most enormous theology pertains to Buddhism. And Buddha, to speak out his truth, 14 years meditated in the forest, not reading books. How many Buddhists really think about it today? Most of us are lecturing our informations, and it is becoming your informations. So it's all information. How much is assimilated in you through your own experience? If not, it's a blind person looking at the mirror. Enough of theories, enough. Let's see. Lalita Ma has written something. I tend more to experience for which you give me words. Yes, Ma. This is a big support for me because I try to give you words that you have experienced. I try to make you think, not standing on perception, but on your experience. That is my way of teaching. My way of teaching is not putting a discipline on you that you have to think within this frame. My teaching to you is you challenge me for knowing better what I'm saying. So the body of the knowledge is information. The life or the vital energy of the knowledge is your experience. And then comes the observation of mind of the information passing through the experience. When observed in detail, it becomes perception. Then it's kind of knowledge, which is yet not proved, but it's in the mind. So this is how the mind gets it. And objective information passing through experience of the senses and assimilating into perception or thought. Now, this perception and thought needs to be judged by other information based on sensation, producing observation. How many such you have in your archival collection? You are comparing a new knowledge with it. And on that stands the judgment. So this is the structure of analysis. Without analysis, and without judgment. Also, the thought is not part of you completely. It's in you, but not you yet. Until and unless a thought is you, you have become the thought. You are one with the thought. The knowledge is still dual. The knowledge is still hired. It's like an object you kept in your room, but you do not know what to deal with it. Most of our knowledge reaches there, and then we keep it like beautiful books in a showcase, in a library. I'm happy I have so many books. I'm a collector of knowledge. But I don't deal with this knowledge because I've collected it. They're not my knowledge. I have yet not, in analytical judgment with it, it has not become my part and parcel. Maitreya, this is the psychology behind philosophy. This is what Tantra deals with, the psychology behind philosophy. How do you know a philosophy is true? By your mind, by your psychology, by your science of thought. So philosophy can be challenged only by psychology. And the final state, the challenge, is to be answered by analogy. Whom you are answering? Yourself. What others challenging you is not important. What you are getting self-challenged, a real knowledge comes from there. So the information passing through experiences of senses, observed through mind, and then analyzed and judged through intellect, you get the fourfold, the four limbs of knowledge. And then this judgment in the path of knowledge, gnosis, becomes part and parcel of you when the knowledge has turned to meditation, inning. I'm not saying all meditations have to be from knowledge, but when you are going in the path of knowledge, whatever you are collecting after observation, the final judgment has come, and how are you comfortable with the judgment is your oneness with the knowledge, and that oneness with the judgment is meditation. And this oneness of the knowledge with meditation, in meditation, or that is meditation, that makes you oneness with the knowledge. But still, the knowledge and you are two different things. So what it ends up? It ends up in realization. So the fifth state of the knowledge is realization. Starts with information, passes through experience, checked by observation, asserted by analytical judgment, and then with all these four, becoming you is your realization.
Baba,
Yes.
is Uwe speaking, that realization and the experience,
Yeah.
which we spoke before, so is that then the same as you just mentioned, the experience and the realization?
No. Realization is the final outcome of knowledge, which is also called wisdom, has passed through experience, but not always an experience. It's not just experience, it's something more. Experience is the reality of life that the information has passed through, is screened through. Suppose somebody says, I saw a rabbit with two horns. You are laughing at why? Rabbits do not have horns. I've not experienced it. Has anybody experienced it? Now go to the biology section and find out in zoology and biology, is there any rabbit with horn? No. Then it is a fantasy. So this information, not passed through experience, not compared to others' experiences, not observed and judged, is not a knowledge. Is it clear to you or not? I can try more ways. But from my side, every trial is also an experiment.
Baba, not clear.
Where it is not clear, Kumarjit?
Means experience and wisdom. Can you elaborate on that more?
The 5 elements are your body, your prana or vital energy. Otherwise, the body is a dead body. The body, through vital energy, is developing perception, which is your mind. Through perception, you are challenging the perception and analyzing and judging it is intellect. And when the judgment is one with you, then it's your identity. So knowledge, how do you identify it as wisdom or realization? So information is like a body without life, like a dead body. It's the body of knowledge, but it has nothing to do with you because you have no experience about it. The moment you experience, yes, I have seen it. What he's saying is true. The same way I've seen it is now the body has got life. So you have touched prana. From your pranic quality, you have sensed it. Without that sensation, you cannot observe it as something which need to be observed with more details, or it is at all an observation. Suppose you read a book called The La La Land, and you have not experienced it. Can you make it an object of your observation? Can you develop any observation on this fantasy? No. So through observation of the mind, still something remains that whatever I have observed, I'm not happy with because it's not proving much. Then all the observations that I've collected of mine and others, we compare all of these, that is analysis, and from there, a final judgment comes. Now it is the judgment. Yes, it is true, this knowledge is true. But what is this truth? Have you yourself be one with it? Now, to be one with it is also an experience. The sensation is the first primary experience, and beyond judgment is also an experience where you are confusing between the two experiences. So beyond judgment is an experience that is the experience of meditation leading to samadhi, or oneness with the judgment. Is it clear to you now? Or not? This is basically the Panchaskandha, or the 5 elemental structure that Buddha has spoken, the basis of all knowledge. I'm putting the knowledge, matter of knowledge, in this 5 elemental structure and seeing how our knowledge is developed. So wisdom is standing on samadhi, oneness with it. It's based on the Vajrayana, or the judgment of it, which is again standing on your observation, whereas your observation is standing on your experiences. And in matter of knowledge, experiences start in handling an information in your mind. Is it clear now? If not, ask me again. I will try to answer it as much as I can. So, the information has no value until and unless you compare it with your experience, which is sensory experience. And it doesn't become a realization, passing even through observation and judgment, until and unless it's the experience of samadhi, meditation to saturation of the thought with your being. It's not wisdom. So just by reading holy books or words of prophets or Buddhas, you don't become holy.
Baba?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like this also. Anne is with me.
Yeah, I can see Anne. How are you, Anne?
Yeah.
Good.
So just now in this conversation, just before I gave her vocal class.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you if you agree to this, because we were identifying the notes of the scale. So we were exploring the Da.
Yeah.
And in this class, we were, I insist that she has the experience of that the sound that comes out of her mouth and the sound of the Tanpura merge together.
Yes,
As
that
long
is the
as,
observation.
Yeah, as long as she didn't have the clear experience of it, she would not be able to reproduce it again at home and practice and go further. You agreed? I said this in between.
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought it would be nice to
the
kind
same structure of fivefold knowledge.
Yeah.
So first is the information that you are teaching a note. Second, she did it and experienced it. Third, she compared it with her observation of the sense of audition with the vocal, with the tanpura and her note she's singing. And then she will come to a judgment that it is correct, until and unless it's perfectly tuned, it is not correct. Either the teacher or the practitioner, both will understand it simultaneously. And once it is decided, then when she's singing the note, it already has become music in her. So long it was not music, it was following an information. Do you agree with it, Anne?
Yes. It's this blending with the sound, and I guess this is what you talk when you say being one with judgment.
Yeah. Every knowledge is in this structure.
Baba,
Yeah.
it's one reason I left teaching photography.
Yeah.
Because I had an argument with the college.
Hmm.
They wanted me to stop doing so many photo shoots, taking my classes out to experience, especially the beginners. And
Yeah.
I said, this is the way they learn, through
Absolutely.
experience, not through talking in a classroom. So I continued arguing, and in the end I went, that's it, I'm leaving, after 20 years.
Yes, that is why a better understanding will be that a cameraman, without shooting a photograph, how will know the photograph? A person how will know swimming by attending 2,000 theory classes without getting into the water?
Yeah. Same thing, Baba, is like, like in the Thai healing method, they keep talking about, this energy channel, that energy channel, and all. They make big maps and all that. And, I've always, in the time when I used to teach, I used to always say, like, you press the muscle, you see in yourself where it's going, where is the sensation going, and that's the channel. Like, you forget all this. This is great. If you want to learn it, you can, but it means nothing, because it's unique in your experience of what it is. And I also like to reflect back that, most of like today's modern society, which is highly intellectualized, sits on Descartes' claim, I think, therefore I am. But that is a huge fallacy.
Yes, truly. You have said exact way. I will give another example. When we speak about yoga, many religious traditions give you imaginations or visualizations in name of yoga. Yoga is a body-mind experience. Many people come to me from the tradition of Kundalini yoga and say they're practicing for years, but no benefit. So when I asked them, how do you locate the chakras? They said, why there are diagrams and maps? I have to imagine. Looking at the map, I feel it in my body. You feel it or you imagine it? Yes, I imagine it. If in the bachelor's quarter, there is a picture of a glamorous lady, and all the men in the bachelor's mess think it is my wife, whether that picture will bear a child. Somebody can say the picture has become pregnant because so many men thought about her to be his child, to be his wife. It will be exactly the same way that a reality is imagined or talked in fantasy. That is what I was saying. The framework of dharma does not many a times lead you to the Buddha. The frame can close you and not reach you the Buddha. A Sangha can stop you having dharma by making you believe things that you have never experienced, and it made you a member of it. When the Sangha has become a religion and not a congregation of enlightened beings. And the dharma they teach can become your greatest obstacle to reach the Buddha, because this dharma is no more what Buddha taught you, but it is a dharma that the priests are teaching you, those who have never experienced. They're interpreting the texts with newer and newer gimmicks. Anybody gives a more novelty idea is a bigger guru for the time being. Recently, last 2 years back, one of the most revered contemporary gurus of Vajrayana, Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche's reincarnation, Dzongkher Khyentse Rinpoche, remarked about Vajrayana that Vajrayana may not be Buddhist even. Nobody can explain what Vajrayana. It was a very big post in his timeline, and there were more than 150 sharings. So I was stunned that one of the highest lamas of Vajrayana is saying it is not sure that Vajrayana is Hindu. Vajrayana is Buddhist, he is not sure. He's saying it can be. He has put this exclamatory thing in it. But whatever he spoke about Vajrayana, he's speaking about just the prior school of Vajrayana, which is known as Tantrayana. Many of us mix up between Tantrayana and Vajrayana, because most of the people practicing anything, meditations or thoughts or rituals under the banner of Vajrayana is still carrying on with Tantrayana, has not entered the field of Vajrayana yet. In prior discussions also I have said this, that how many people really know what is the difference between Tantrayana and what is the difference between Vajrayana. They are so alike, or both the schools at the same school. It's a chronology, but not the same. Tantrayana starts with Guhya Samaja by Nagarjuna. When Nagarjuna has mentioned the structure of Vajrayana stands upon 5 Buddhas who are metaphors of 5 stages of Buddha's development of Nirvana. Each landmark in the development of Nirvana is mentioned as one celestial Buddha. And every wisdom that Buddha has acquired through challenge, you can call it temptation, through challenge, is Tara. So Tara is the confrontation of ignorance turning to wisdom, and then giving birth to a bodhisattva or a dharma or a principle. And then that bodhisattva is holding in both of its sides a protective deity or the restraint that holds that dharma, the virtues, and the guardian deity or the experience of the field that is being dealt with in that ritual. This structure is Tantrayana. It's already done. Then where is Vajrayana? If you think Vajrayana is 5 Buddhas, 5 Taras, 8 bodhisattvas and innumerable guardian and protective deities, then how it is different from Tantrayana? Why these two yanas are two specific and different yanas? And can you say something about it? You're practicing it, I know.
Il m'a parlé, hein?
I don't know.
Did you call me?
Yeah.
Oh. Can we say that Tantrayana can be like the mean and Vajrayana the not the end, but yeah.
You are again speculating. You're not sure. You don't know. You are intellectualizing. Am I right?
It's hard to say with words without intellectualizing.
Until and unless you have completed Tantrayana and got into Vajrayana, you cannot say compare Tantrayana with Vajrayana because you don't know either of the things fully. Still we think we know. Tantrayana's basic precept is the 5 elemental subdivisions of the self. I am fragmented into 5 me. The body me, the prana me, the feelings me or the sensory me, the perceptual me, the judgmental me, and the me or the identity me. All these 5 are not agreeing with each other all the time. So it's like a family where 5 brothers are fighting. These 5 brothers together and the family is you. This is called Koula. It's a Sanskrit term given to Tantra by Nagarjuna himself. What is a Koula? One who belongs to the family. So any part of these 5 identities in you is playing a part in your family, in your being now, is a matter of Tantra. When all your 5 faculties are transcended by finding the equipoise between like your physical self and your sensational self or sensory self, when they are dissolved into one consciousness, your sense self and your perception self are dissolved into one consciousness. When your perception self and your judgmental self are dissolved into the same consciousness, when your judgmental self and your identity is dissolved into the same consciousness, then you have completed Tantrayana. Because the differences are producing poisons. Like in the physical state, it is competition or jealousy. In the emotional state, it is passion or desire. In psychological or mental self, it is self-manipulation, self-hypnosis, or ignorance, sticking to what I know. It's truth or not, this is I know, this is the end of it. And I will not know the truth. That is the component of mind too. These are all happening because of the 5 differences. And the judgment. In the state of judgment, it's hatred. This is my judgment, this is true. Except this, everything else I hate. And the 5th is life is nothing but irritation coming from all these disharmonies. When you end up these disharmonies by the theory of dependable origination, that the body came from the senses of our parents. And the body is giving birth to my senses. Thus, the body is the cause of the sense, and sense is the cause of the body. Thus, the cause of each other are diminished by each other, and both the body and the senses become one neutral consciousness. This is Pratitya Samutpad, or the basic theory on which the practice of Tantra is standing, that the polarization of mind is always showing two equal or opposites, and how to bring a parity between them by seeing both are nothing but names and forms of the same consciousness. Thus, the two opposites will become one in voidness. So through Tantrayana, you have reached voidness. This is the completion of Tantrayana. So each of the poisons transmuted into its positive end and then neutralized into Samadhi. The positive end is competition turned to accomplishment. Passion or desire turned to compassion. Ignorance turned to all knowledge. Hatred turned to renunciation. What you hate, give up. And finally, irritation turned to carnival of life. This is completion of Tantrayana. Then what is Vajrayana? Vajrayana starts with the Buddha mind that is awakened, the Buddha consciousness that is awakened through this fivefold voidness of Tantrayana. Which is neither judgmental nor a matter of intellectual analysis, but the experience of samadhis. So there is a staircase of 84 different stages of samadhis in Buddha's teaching, which are called the 84,100,000 doors of Dharma. And Tantrayana completes 64. The other 20 is Vajrayana. Clear now? Because Buddhism is holding on to the framework of Dharma now, and not holding on to the Buddha, it's holding on to the Buddhist church. So the confusion has arisen very high. Because everything which is going on is theory without your experience. Until and unless you realize that Dharma is not yours. And that is standing on the experience of Samadhi. So the 20 experience of Samadhi in Dharma Sangraha, the text of terminology written by Nagarjuna, he has called it Vingsha Shunyata, or 20 voidness. It may be meaningless to people to understand this 20 voidness, because voidness is free from duality and non-duality. Then why there is 20? Because my brain faculty, human brain faculty, is created out of with so much differences that even one voidness have to, when it goes through our brain, there are 20 different stages, 20 different stages FM mode of realizing it. You have to pass through. go to the great void that dissolves your identity. In Tantrayana, you have perfected your identities. In Vajrayana, you are losing your identities. That much difference it is between Tantrayana and Vajrayana. And everything today you are practicing is Tantrayana, yet not Vajrayana. Maitreya, are you understanding what I'm saying?
Insofar as I can, Baba.
Because without experience, there cannot be any understanding. You are still in your white robes of observation. In that observation, sometimes you fail. So until and unless you complete observation, how can you go to even judgment? This is Tantrayana, this is not Vajrayana yet. Vajrayana will start with realization of Tantrayana. When your wisdom is Tara and your wise being in intercourse with your wisdom is the Buddha, then Vajrayana will start. And you're sharing that light of your self-realization, or the realization in you is a bodhisattva, or the identity of a realization. Sattva means identity. Bodhisattva means bodhi identity. Bodhi is enlightenment. An enlightened identity is a stage of dharma. Is a realized theory. Or your expression. The Buddha is nothingness of yourself. The Tara is the wisdom of it. The expression is the Bodhisattva. And your virtues are your protective deities. And your skills are your guardian deities. This is the structure of Vajrayana. Tantrayana was the earlier structure. It's the same fivefold, but not exactly the same. This is how our wisdom developed through the fivefold system of knowledge. Information, the sensory experience, the observation, the analytical judgment, and the judgment dissolving into yourself and yourself dissolving into the judgment. If this process of knowledge you do not follow the structure, whatever you know is incomplete knowledge. And incomplete knowledge is like ghost of knowledge. Many ghosts of knowledge, they move in your head and don't let you sleep. How many of you experience this every day?
Yes, Baba.
Yeah.
In our life now, in this time, so much more information we are confronted with. And that makes also so much more of these brain ghosts. So in many ways it is much more difficult to go further, to go further on this path than it was before in some way. And I think it's important to realize that also, that in a way one has to make a conscious effort of not letting all these thoughts like disturb oneself. So therefore, that's why we get into meditation, to always observe and try to throw out these thoughts, and then apply it in the waking state. So it's a big path, it's a long path, and it's always practice as such. And
do you think good food you took today and tomorrow left it in the commode is not a big path in between intake of the food, digestion, and shitting it out? Everything is in a process. There's nothing which is without structure, without a process. So when this age, as I said, objective knowledge will have the objective or the physical poison in it called competitiveness. Go to any research seminar and see how people are fighting between themselves about information. Ask some questions that check on their experience, and everything will become silent because nobody has experienced. It's all informations and jugglery on information. Everything is information. Until and unless the information is one with you and you have experienced it, observed it, analytically judged it, and become one with it, no information is of any use. So why we have to fight with information? It's a folly. It's either people of this era does not have the tenacity and the diligence to carry on the process, or they're caught up by the fast poison of competitiveness.
Yes. That's why, in a way, why I started with saying it has become so much more information and so much more difficult to dissect this information and to because now so much information we get through the computer, let's say.
Yeah.
So how can we develop to kind of to get a feeling, or to get it to an experiential level somehow, all this brain juice which is there, which just oozes out of this computer all the time, how to kind of how
do we deal with it?
How to deal
First and
with
foremost will be any information we receive, we don't buy it, we have received it. We have to deal with it. The moment we have received the information, I have to look back in my experiential chart. Do I find anything like that? Or is there any comparison with anything like that in my memory bank of experience? And from there, I will compare it. And when I'm comparing it, it's not always the same. Then I need more observation. Seeing the same issue happening in others, or how the same information reacts with others' experience. Observation. And from there, a self-evolved process of analysis will bring judgment. But if we derive judgment from the information itself, then it will be called judgmental. So not so fast. Take it easy, take it slow. Not on the moment.
Baba,
Yes.
about discernment. What Uwe is saying today, because there is an avalanche of information for so many, well, the majority of people, there's no way for them to check the validity of that information. So without discernment, how do you know, or how do they know the truth?
First and foremost, what we do with so much of information. If the discernment is not in my hand, what I'm doing with information. If somebody gives me some food to eat and I don't have a plate, where do I eat it? So I have to keep the process of my discernment ready to accept the information. So why we are so greedy about information? Why 5 friends are sitting and 5 of them are looking into their smartphone, not talking to each other? When you discuss with somebody, a same issue can give various dimensions of the same experience, same matter, differently experienced. That is an observation. If there is no scope of observation, why will you swallow or buy that information at all? The first revolution will be, we don't need so much information. What do I do with it? Okay, which is somebody, Mr. Binoy Patwardhan, is asking a question which may be very much aligned to this thought. Does samskara or karma leads to inspire the information which comes us, or how spiritual information comes to us? What role of intuition is in this cycle? Yes, the samskara is basically influencing our judgment, that what we are already identified with. Within that field, we can judge a thing. The samskara and karma is leading which information you will choose, which you will not. That choice is also not free choice, it is conditioned choice, conditioned through many lifetimes, conditioned through many factors. And the spiritual information coming to you is free from your samskara. How is it? Like you are in connection to an enlightened being and you felt an experience when you were listening to this being, enlightened being, and this experience is so new to you, you don't know what it is. But you know the experience. Yes. That you cannot deny. That is how from one enlightened being, another person gets the experience of enlightenment. That is why we need a guru.
Okay. And Babaji.
Yeah.
And what about something in dream stage or something, like even in meditation also, like sometimes we are not in perfect consciousness, or say during sleep also we are not in a consciousness, but still we have some altogether different experiences which we have never heard before or we have not imagined before.
These are sometimes spiritual information flowing into you.
Okay.
But spiritual information is not just information. It is ready with an experience.
Yeah, because you experienced it in a dream and then you come to know that this is the information. It's a reverse cycle over there.
Yeah, this cannot be logically explained, but this is spiritual. But I will say, in a matter of consciousness, the information you received is also through your consciousness.
Yes.
Because you are not activating anything without consciousness.
Yes, yes. Because we cling
so, with that information, whatever you are experiencing is another level of consciousness. What with that experience, what you started observing is another level of consciousness. With that observation, what you are judging is another level of consciousness. And when it has become one with you, there is no difference of consciousness because now you are in samadhi. It's like a deep sleep. There it is pure consciousness. All these are conditioned consciousness. So you are also true that intuition or the self-evolved wisdom, we can only say this, is within us, which sometimes comes out as from the cloudy sky. A cloud can get torn and vistas of light, beams of light can come through, again get covered. It's exactly like that. You were right. Heidi is asking, is the information always needed or how much of it is needed? Heidi, it depends upon you. That is what I say, that whatever I'm speaking, if not bullshit, is at least holy cow dung. You don't have to take everything. Whatever clicks with you, your experience, that remains with you. If it is deep, it has touched your experience very deeply, then you like it or not like it, subconsciously also you will carry it in an observation. You will remember it at every interaction of similar understanding. That is observation. And one day you will have a judgment of it. And maybe that judgment will lead to the saturation of an wisdom. Is it clear, Heidi? If it is not clear, please tell me, I will try again.
Yes, Baba, it's clear. And also the previous question was about the same. Yes. Thank you.
This is why, Sonia, I told you that the deity you are worshipping, you are so much in love with her. Why? You have to find it in yourself, not in the books, not in the statues, not in the caves, not in the information. In you, what is where it is connected to you, or why your mind picked this up. There were many other forms. When you start asking yourself this question, thousands of your experiences shoot up around this thought and make a house of observation. And the more you observe, and the more you observe, and more you observe, you come to a judgment. Without observation, you don't come to a judgment.
Yes, Guruji.
So the belief system or the faith ends up the moment you're happy, You have got something in your heart.
Yes.
But wisdom is not content with your belief system or your faith. Wisdom will pull you to know why you are so happy with it.
Yes, Guruji, absolutely. Adesh.
Adesh, Adesh, ma,
Adesh.
Adesh. Life is looking like very thoughtful. Why don't you release some of your thoughts to us?
Nice to see you again, Baba. It's a bit of a lot of things for the head to follow on a Wednesday night here in Switzerland. A little bit of a mind salad.
So what do you think I do? Every Wednesday, I have to sit in front of the screen and go on preparing mind salads.
Yeah, you're like a cook of cold kitchen cook. But there's different ways also to get to that voidness or samadhi?
No, I am today speaking only of the faculty of jnana, nothing else.
Ah, okay, that's why I was getting a bit lost.
It is in matter of another faculty, it will be different.
Okay.
In matter of, suppose in matter of love.
Yeah. Because too much information, everybody has too much in their mind. They should get rid of most of the information, all the books. Maybe that's why also Buddha said, burn all the books. If you want to feel it, want to sense it, be totally in it in totality. But they did exactly the opposite. They wrote books and books and books.
All books are certain information collected or experiences out of information or observation or judgment, just records.
Yeah.
Because samadhi, you cannot write anything about it.
Exactly.
That is why Buddha didn't write the book.
And the problem started when people started to write down things. Before it was transmitted with verbal, with stories, with experience, with day, night, cold, hot. But the moment somebody had an idea, this is the way, they wrote it down. And that's when the confusion started, because everybody started to interpret it the way they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do with information until and unless you experience? You go on intellectually interpreting to get adventures in the world of identities.
Exactly, yeah. And more information also builds up your ego big time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clive.
That can be two ways. One, you allowed one ghost in your head, it will bring many more.
Yeah.
Wait till it brings more and more and more, and one day your brain fails because it has saturated. That is the day of liberation. Or one day you say no to your thoughts.
Yeah.
Both do not work with everybody. Some works with someone.
Yeah.
And you give up thoughts.
Fantastic, Baba. Good to hear you. You look pretty in shape.
It's a shape, so it will remain in the shape until and unless the shape disintegrates.
Yeah. There's a moment about too much intellectualization and these 5 steps that I don't know, maybe it doesn't happen to other people. It happens to me. I start to drift off.
In one way, it's good. Once you start drifting off, soon you will be no one. And to be no one is to have a momentary taste of the Buddha mind.
Yeah. The dissolution of the I amness happens then.
Yeah.
That's great. I have no more to say. I mean, everything's said.
Do you think it's quite an interesting thing for me to every Wednesday or Saturday come and go on speaking? It's the same thing. I go on speaking from various views. If one view click to anybody of you, the work starts there inside.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you very much and for doing that. I can't always be on Wednesday online, but I have all the recordings and I'm trying to take notes, which don't serve much, but it's good.
Why first think yourself? Because you are receiving the information. If you block yourself from the information, who do you thank?
Yeah. No, I don't block. It stays and it goes.
No, you can block also. No problem.
I don't want to block. It's okay. It's fine.
You know, in Tantra, nothing is forbidden and nothing is compulsory.
Yeah. That's the beauty of Tantra.
উটি আছিস নাকি রে?
হ্যাঁ বাবা।
ওই তোর বন্ধুরা ঢুকতে পেরেছে?
আমার ভাই সম্ভবত আছে, আমি একটু দেখিনি।
না, যদি বাদ পড়ে যায় তাহলে যে
না, আমি ওদেরকে পাঠিয়ে দিয়েছিলাম।
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, আমি শুধু ওটাই করলাম, কারণ তুই আমায় জিজ্ঞেস করেছিলি তাই। আমি এই সিস্টেমটা বুঝি না, আমি এটা কন্ডাক্ট করতে পারি না, তাই যে কন্ডাক্ট করে আমি তাকে খবরটা দিয়ে দিই।
আমি ওদেরকে আগেই পাঠিয়ে রেখেছিলাম।
ঠিক আছে, যেহেতু আমায় বলেছিলি ওদের যেন এক্সক্লুড করা না হয়, তাই আমি জিজ্ঞেস করছি, কারণ এই ইনক্লুড করা এক্সক্লুড করা কোনোটাই আমি পারি।
হ্যাঁ।
See how easy it is for me. Shinjini said me, some of her friends and family will like to listen to today's discussion, and said, please let them enter, don't chuck them out. So I had to say the moderator, or what you call the organizer, to do it, because neither I can chuck out anybody, nor I can pull in anybody. I don't know the system of the computer. I've just, others helped me and I'm sitting in front of it. That much. See how much information I've got rid of. If I knew I had to work with it, why work with a 60-year-old brain? Things that is more cumbrous. The best way is to renounce. So this is the structure of knowledge. Today I talked about the Sanskrit terms are information is called Gyan, or incomplete knowledge. The sensation is called Gyan, or experiential or sensory knowledge. The perception is called Mahagyan, or endless knowledge, endless thoughts. The judgment is bring a precision among endless knowledge and is known as Vigyan, or the science, because the judgment is standing on the science of thoughts. That is where from the analogy comes. And the final wisdom is called Pragya. So now you understand what the text Pragya Paramita is saying is the final outcome of knowledge, which is wisdom. So wisdom is not what you are thinking or what you are interpreting, but you have gone through this fivefold structure to reach that realization. Actually, there is not that you have to go through this fivefold structure. The thought itself will go through this fivefold structure. You are just discovering the structure. Those who cannot follow a discipline, for them this fivefold knowledge, fivefold structure is made to acquire a certain knowledge or wisdom. Today I have a lot of congestion, and there was temperature yesterday night. Today also, time to time, it was temperature. There was a headache. But when I started speaking about knowledge, that I was told inside me that today we speak about it. Then seeing many people have a headache with this structure, my headache went away.
Baba, that's called transmission. Thank you.
That is this transmission of my headache to your headache, or your headache to my headache?
I haven't got a headache.
Oh,
All
that's
clear.
huh. Actually, you know, transmission in mysticism or psychic mysticism is also the same. When a guru is transmitting you something, he or she is himself or herself practicing. And that process is inculcated in you by the sheer merit of the practice. A time in ashram, those who are my old disciples, they stayed in the old ashram, they know that I used to sit with you all and just go on breathing. Until and unless everybody's breathing is in rhythm with my breathing. I've not instructed anything also. I'm talking, just stopped and started watching everybody's breathing while I'm breathing my own way. Or made you meditate in my room so that my pulsation enters your pulsation, because the pulsation of the particular understanding, if not enacted in your body, the particular understanding is not going to happen, even if it comes out from my mouth and goes to your ears. It will not. You need that same pulsation, the spanda. It is also the transmission itself is what you practice, you are sharing. It's the experience. If I am not simultaneously experiencing with you, my energy of experience will not reach you. If a guru without practicing just goes on instructing, that will not be the transmission. Guru has to simultaneously work out for the disciple to feel the workout. You may ask me, how does it happen? It happens like, think, you are a fish inside an aquarium, and there are other fishes who are getting your way of breathing in the water. As the pulsations will go through the water and touch others with the vibration of the water, the same way that our energy field is one consciousness, and all these differences are sharing each other's consciousness with difference. So those who are transmitting, what is transmission, is I have created a consciousness in the field which is reaching everybody. That is why in Tantra, in the practice of the Gana Chakra, everybody sits with their individual practices in the same room and shares with each other. That is how it is a cyclic meditation. First, the meditation is very much individual. Otherwise, it will not happen. It's like every musician individually has learned music to participate in a orchestration or singing together, isn't it, Uwe? If somebody does not know to play the music or tune with the music, individually not skilled, then in the group behavior cannot participate. Or if they participate, they disturb the group behavior, isn't it? I've learned it. He's my music teacher. True, and it's not a matter of laughing. He scolded me so much to learn music because I used to disturb him by singing wrong music. It's true. It's long years, long years. Me and Ube are very good friends. And we shared a lot of things together. So he made me practice music, which was almost impossible. But I do not know how successful a guru he is. But that depends upon the disciples who work out. But last time Ube heard my singing, Ube said, I'm now it is singing in tune. Now, anybody has any question today?
I just have an image to share where you've been talking. I keep seeing the image of a wheel.
Yeah.
With the central point and the rays.
Yeah, absolutely, Ma.
So
that
the rays
is
disappear.
that is the wheel of dharma. See, it matches with the experience.
Mm-hmm.
This is the wheel of dharma.
Yes.
See,
And so
it
when
is from
it
the
goes in
center
movement,
to
the rays.
manifold, but it remains the same.
Mm-hmm.
That is why teaching is said to be the wheel of dharma. But when there is a mudra or gesture of Buddha teaching is this, which means two equal and opposite motions he's dealing at the same time. Twofold, two opposite folds.
Mm-hmm.
So Buddha's teaching is never to any extreme. It is the mid path of two equal and opposites.
Yes, and when you were talking about the Tantrayana and how it's the opposites and it blends, and when the wheels go in movement, the rays disappear and you have only the central point, which can maybe be Vajrayana.
Vajrayana is the essence of Tantrayana. Vajrayana is neither positive nor negative. It is the neutral state of being.
Yeah, so can it be the center of the wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the image I have when you be talking.
Better to say what Vajrayana is, Ma. You know, in our brain, the cells, brain cells, are in a structure of a spiral. If you see a spiral, you will see from the center, the two sides or the radius of the spiral are never equal. But in a round, from the center, the two radius are equal. So our brain pulsation is continuously moving in a golden mean ratio, which is a wobble. The wobble is between an analysis and an experience, and the experience is combating the analysis, and analysis is combating the experience. Most of the time, either the analysis is speaking and the experience is listening, or the experience is speaking, the analysis is listening. So it is endless fight. Vajrayana, in a very technical way of yoga, is when your brain pulsation have become the equated ratio. So Vajrayana starts with samadhi. Till dhyan or meditation, it is Tantrayana.
So,
but there's still another yana waiting.
so
That is
from all this
Sahaja yana.
in the mind all the time to
It is said for this era, the yana or the structure or the institution of discipline of spirituality in Buddhism, what is coming is called Sahaja yana. Means now it's time for you to find out your own natural discipline. Because until and unless you find out your own natural discipline, you are still in the conditioning of a certain discipline, and you are not free from it. So the real salvation is working when you are into natural discipline and not into conditioned discipline.
Can you explain that?
Who asked me this, Clive?
Yes.
Trying to explain this will be a trial of explaining. No, I will not go into a private territory. I was
No, private, but
I was about to. I was about to. I checked myself. It will be like I have 20,000 girlfriends, and whom do I love most?
No, but the natural.
No, you just think of it. You will understand. The example is for you.
I don't have any more 20,000 girlfriends, by the way, but.
So you have found the natural love?
Yes, I have.
Then you know it.
But no, but it's about the discipline.
But you can say, to have this natural love experience within my own self, 20,000 girlfriends who are needed, Baba.
No wonder it's Kyapa Baba, huh?
See, I come from the non-monastic direct transmission school that deals you directly with your private mind. If I don't reach your private mind, I've not been able to make you understand.
But the Sahajana, the magical natural discipline compared to a discipline passed on, a traditional discipline or a set-up discipline, that difference is very, very unique. I've never heard that before. And it's very difficult. What is the natural discipline from my samskaras and myself compared to the disciplines I've been learning from books, different teachers, different traditions, different ways, different places?
Okay, I will give you an example because
that distinction is very important.
Okay, just like you are a yogi who is teaching yoga, asana, and pranayama. First, when you learn shavasana, or the death posture, how did you learn it? Somebody showed you how a dead body lays down. Legs apart, hands apart, on its back. Did you feel you are dead? You didn't. So that is the first phase of the learning. Then time went on when you start feeling you are getting into sleep there. More you are getting into sleep, your limbs are becoming more and more and more relaxed. More your limbs are relaxed, your breathing is relaxed. More your breathing is relaxed, your pulsation is relaxed. More your pulsation is relaxed, your mind is relaxed. More your mind is relaxed, you went to a conscious sleep. From Shavasana to Yoga Nidra is an experience from the day you are learning it till the day you will carry on teaching it. It's in the same process it goes. Exactly same process.
I understood now.
That is why this wheel of 8 spikes at the 8-fold path, observation, commitment, expression or communication, action, life and livelihood, diligence, memory, and samadhi. This 8-fold, one who has started and reached the samadhi, 8 completed. Does the wheel stop there? Or after samadhi, again you come back to observation, it is completely a different observation. After that observation, the commitment is completely a different commitment. After following that, the expression or communication is completely a different communication. And thus you have again achieved samadhi. And next you are again the wheel moves and you go to the observation. Every time the wheel moves, you are wiser. It's endless.
Wiser with no information.
With no information, you are in deep sleep state. So long you are anything in any state without deep sleep state, you have an information.
No, not information, but yeah, knowledge. Without knowledge, you can have the information to go through that and the awareness of that.
That knowledge in you has started with your sensory experience.
What you were saying at the beginning of the satsang.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense more and more. It's like turning around and around.
The wheel, turning around the wheel again and again and again.
All of a sudden it clicks.
Yeah.
And it starts to spin by itself.
Yes.
Maybe, inshallah. Awesome. Thanks.
Any question from anybody else?
Baba?
Yeah.
I was wondering where you had your retreat.
I had my, don't call it a retreat.
Oh.
There are already 3 people following me in the same jeep.
Oh.
I first went to Tashiding. From there, we stayed some 5 days in Tashiding. Then we went to Ketchupedi. Some 5 days we stayed in Ketchupedi. From there, one day we went to Yaksam. And 2 days we stayed in Pelling. And then we came back. The retreat is a retreating from the concrete jungle and experiencing some time in the forest and caves. but I was not alone. A host of brain-cracking ghosts were there with me. That is my karma as a guru. You don't take a guru does not have karma. A guru has serious karmas. A disciple can be responsible and may not enact a karma. But a guru, so long a disciple is there, a person is a guru. So long the disciple is there, a guru cannot give up a single responsibility. So where is the retreat in that sense? It's always correcting. How does a human being feels like always correcting others? That is why I love people who are not my disciples. But it's not that those who are my disciples, I don't love them, but I try to remain away from them. But that is not very easy. Milarepa said that there are no greater enemy than the disciple, and there is no greater disease than devotees. Okay. Jai Guru, Jai Ma.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru Baba.